Hey, today I'm going to show you an automated system that takes a daily journal entry from Google Forms and turns it into a LinkedIn post and 2 tweets. If you want to, you can sell this exact system for about $250 a pop to a C-level executive, and it will literally take you 20 minutes to build, maybe even less. I am Itamar. I was the head of marketing and community automations for a 60 million web-free gaming ecosystem, and now I build AI automations for just general Web3 companies all over the world. So without further ado, let's jump into the demo. Okay, so let me show you how the system works. Let me execute the workflow. What we're seeing here is us fetching journal entries. Then we're sorting them out with the code node just to make sure that we're pulling just the latest one and not all of them. Then we're getting the rows in sheet, which is the... What even is this? Okay, so let's jump into it. What you're seeing here is us fetching the journal entries, then we're filtering out all of them just to make sure that we're pulling the latest one and not all of them. And then we're getting a few examples for pretty much LinkedIn articles / tweets, whatever you want to do here, that we liked and performed well in order to have context for the model. And then we're fetching some keywords that could be an SEO research, that could be another workflow. In this case, these results are actually a result of another workflow that I'll maybe show in a different video. And since this workflow is very simple, I'll just really dive into every single node and show you what we're doing. So the idea is, and I think that's the concept of this video, is to show you how you can build very valuable workflows that aren't complicated at all. Like everything that you see here is just like Google Sheet nodes, and yeah, sure, the code node might be scary looking, but it's just really just filtering for the latest result. And you can do it with other ways as well. I just feel code node is the easiest. Now, there's plenty of ways to do this. This one is just almost completely free. The only thing that you're paying for is obviously the AI, the OpenAI token, but really nothing else because everything here is completely free. Now, let me walk you through how you can build something like this. So first and foremost, you need a form. And this is the form that I went with. It's just a daily log form that will serve as a daily journal. Now, there's plenty of executives and plenty of leaders that are sold on the idea of having a journal. And journaling daily is just very difficult to do consistently because it's really not that rewarding. Like it helps you think more clearly, there's obvious benefits, but you don't really see them right away. What this system does, which is super nice, is you're being rewarded for logging in your daily journal with ready-made posts that you can just like post to LinkedIn or Twitter or any other text-based. You can get a full-blown newsletter out of this if you want to configure it that way. So it's kind of giving you that small dopamine hit of getting something in return as a reward for you doing what you were supposed to do, which is fill in your journal. In this case, the questions that I picked were, what did you build, fix, or ship today? What insights did you gain? Like mental model, perspective, belief. What was the biggest challenge or pain point you faced? What did you actually do to solve that challenge or pain point? What would your past self not understand about today? If you had to distill today into an advice, what would you say? Is it video worthy? And just a few things. That's just like my personal one that I've been using now for the last 2-3 weeks, even more, because it's a different form. Now, the reason that we're using Google Forms instead of using a Typeform or something is because Typeform's API is something that you need to pay for, and everything here is completely free. So once we will fill in this journal, and I won't fill like random stuff because then the result won't be great and we want to have like results that are usable. So I'm going to use the last entry from yesterday, actually, in order to demonstrate what we're doing, but this is how it looks like in practice. So what did you do today? I finished the most advanced automation system I ever built, a content engine that scales my ideas without needing my time or whatever. Like, we're getting results of all of the different entries from the sheet. And let me go actually even deeper. In order to configure this node, what you need to do is go to 10 tab, look for triggers, and do on row edit. So I'll build this simultaneously while this is already built. Now, in order to connect it, if you haven't yet, you will need to connect your credentials. In order to do that, you will need to get your client ID and client secret and connect via. The way that you're getting there is through the Google Cloud, which you need to have set up. And then you're just pulling the client ID from here. And if we will go into here, we will have the client secret as well. Just because I'm not sure if it's actually hidden or not, I'll just won't go into it. But you're basically copying the client ID, then the client secret. And then you will have this sign in button that will allow you to log into your Google Sheet. Now from here, we will look for the entries. So those entries, let's say it's this, even though it's not, but let's just pick a random sheet. Basically, it's the daily log form that you need to get and the form responses. The way that you're getting those is from here. We'll get the responses and then you can see view on sheet and you will have all of the entries here. In order to filter out, because as you can see, we're fetching 14 and we only want one item per day. It's a daily thing. So we want to do two things. One, we need this to run, and that's kind of like, it's up to you in a way in terms of how many times you want it to run per day. I would just run it like every 6 hours because you don't really need more, just depending on if it's a very specific time that you know that you're going to fill the daily journal, or your client knows that they will fill the daily journal every single night at 11 p.m. You can do like 12 p.m. every single day. It doesn't really matter. You can just do it every minute. That's fine. It's a ton of operations and it makes it more difficult to look for operations that maybe failed or maybe had an issue if you're constantly running something. So I wouldn't do that. Now, after that, again, like you can do a filter node if you want to and just filter out based on that. The way that I opted to do this is just like tell ChatGPT that you want a code node that will help you sort just the latest entry based on the date. Maybe it will get it wrong in the first time, maybe it will get it wrong in the second time, but eventually it will get it right. Now, once we have that, we need examples. Here is a few LinkedIn posts, because for me, I'm just really using the LinkedIn post. I'm not really that active on Twitter. So what I pulled from here is posts that I've written, obviously with the use of AI incorporated to that as well, but I've polished off at least and did pretty well. So I send the examples in order for it to kind of catch my tone. And then after we're feeding that or we're fetching that, we have the journal entries. We're only left with the latest journal entry. We have 3 examples, which you can hard code it into the AI prompt, but I would very much advise you would do it separately so you can update it. And it's easier that way. So if you have like a post that goes viral, you just copy paste it into the examples. Everything here is on purpose, like on Google Sheets. It's maybe not the perfect architecture, but it makes it very easy to do and very cheap. So you can just anyone can do it. Now, we're pulling 3 examples. You can pull 10 if you want. I would suggest 3 to 5, nothing more than that, and only examples of posts that you want to create more similar pieces of content from those examples. Don't just get something that has nothing to do with what you're trying to do here, because this is kind of let's say a philosophy, technical, whatever, coming from let's say a place and a spot of authority, kind of. So you need to have similar examples to the post that you're trying to actually create with this daily journal. And the chances are that you will only sell this system to people of influence. So people that already are running a company or had some sort of success, but aren't active in social media at all and find it very difficult to get going. So that's a very simple and it's very cheap as well to like $250. Pretty much anyone that has this need will kind of try it out at least. So it's a very easy sell because you're knocking out two problems in one. Like you're not posting content, you want to journal, let's mix the two and like here's a system that does both and it's super simple and they don't necessarily need to know that it's that simple. Now, what we're doing next is fetching keywords. This is more advanced because the keywords researcher that I'll show you here, all of the, as you can see, there's a score, there's an average trend competition. This is a more advanced workflow that I'll probably show in a different video that cross-reference YouTube data with Google data in order to find very, let's say, very opportunistic keywords, like very specific in terms of the structure. So let's find something here for as an example that might do like super well. Let's do here, it's 0.6 with an average trend and competition and whatever. So this one is n8n automation tutorial. So that means that using this means two things. One, that this keyword is being contested. So people are trying to pretty much buy traffic related to this keyword. And it also is doing pretty well on YouTube in terms of like search volume and whatever, but no one is really like using it. In this case, you will see there is no match rate to a video that starts with n8n automation tutorial. Those three words will be there in different titles, but it won't be there for everything. This is more specific for YouTube, but I'm using that as a cross-reference to like incorporate some keywords into this content piece as well, because I already have the data, so why not? You can just, if you want to like go the extra mile, you can just have a Google Sheet, create some keywords. It doesn't necessarily need to be that extreme. You can just like pick a few keywords that you know people are contesting and people are searching and just use that. But this is just a bit more advanced. Now, we're messaging a model with all of the context, and what we have here is kind of the role. So from my perspective, it's a ghostwriter. So you are a ghostwriter trained to write like Itamar Dvir. Your writing is structured but personal, reflective but practical, and always rooted in experience. You write with clarity, honesty, and insight. Format your response cleanly for LinkedIn and Twitter. Obviously, that changes. Everything that you will see here in terms of the prompt, besides maybe what we're feeding it, like daily journal entries, like this is going to stay, obviously, because this is the data that we're feeding it. But in terms of how we want it to write, one, it will take inspiration, obviously, from the example. So it's important that it will be yours or your clients. Like it needs to sound like them, unless they really like don't care and they don't have a voice and they don't mind having just a random AI kind of be their voice. I would highly not recommend it, because if they will grow and they will show up on like video or something, and then people like see, okay, he seems really different in video than how he comes across on different social media platforms, that's an issue. So as an advice, it's better off that they would kind of find their tone at least, and everyone have something that they wrote, everyone. So find a few pieces and kind of train it on that. What I did in order to kind of extract the prompt even more is really twofold. One, we need post guidelines, because yes, it is an art, but it's also a science. Like LinkedIn post, Twitter post, they do follow a certain degree. There's some growth hacks. I'm not an expert in either, so this is probably general and it could be improved on. I'm just getting into the whole like organic content game now, so I'm sure I'm going to kind of change the prompts here. But if you have more experience in those platforms, make sure that the guidelines reflect kind of the growth hacks that you can implement to these platforms. The last piece is just how we want the objects to be, like what's the output that we're looking for. So we don't want any array. We want split objects. Like we want the array to be like split objects, meaning the tweet, like two tweets and a LinkedIn post. We don't want it to be nested. We don't want it to be like LinkedIn and then like tweet and then two posts in that. So you need to be very clear in terms of how you want the data to be returned. In terms of the style, you will see the tone here. I try to kind of unpack myself as to some degree. Is it perfect? No. I think it will take some time and I'll need to probably circle back. So if Alex or Mozi or someone that's like putting a shit ton of content out there, like a Mr. Beast or whatever, will ask an AI to pretty much create a piece of content in his tone, I think it will be easier for them because there's a ton of reference. There's a ton of reference data. There's a ton of stuff that they wrote that is accessible to the AI. We're not feeding a ton of data here. We're feeding like 3 to 5. It's not a lot of text. So it won't hit exactly your tone, but it will be close enough. So I wouldn't say it's completely automated. I don't think anything that's related to content coming out from yourself or your company should be completely automated, but I think it will get you like 90% of the way there, which is amazing because in this specific workflow, again, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone because it's a journal, like it's a journal incentive in a way, and it's also like it acts as a journal, obviously, and it also creates content for you from that journal, which is kind of great because authenticity really sells today, and that's, I think, the reason why we're seeing like a slow trend back to like long form, very unedited type of content, which is the stuff that I'm trying to do now as well. And yeah, so this is pretty much the entirety of this workflow. Super simple, super easy. You can see the results that we're getting. Let me just run it one time so you can see the flow going from end to end. And then we'll see the content that it produces based on my latest entry. And you will see probably a very similar post. If you are following my LinkedIn, you will see a very similar post being posted probably soon. So we have the Twitter and then we have the LinkedIn copy. So this is the latest entry. I had no idea how to make a YouTube video. Obviously, this is the entry from yesterday, which yesterday I posted my first video. So that was the stuff that I talked about in the journal. I had no idea how to make a YouTube video, so I made one anyways. No workflows, no editor, no thumbnail strategy, just a rough plan to record something and let AI tools handle the rest. It turned out bad, and I'm proud of it, because I've learned that execution beats perfection, that 80% done by me is better than 100% imagined by no one. Like, this is pretty fucking good. Like, at least from my perspective, that's very close to the stuff that I would have written. So it works out great if you train it well, and you really don't need the fancy stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't need 700 different nodes in order to build something valuable. And I think that's what this video is about. If you have a valuable idea, and it's all about the architecture, nothing else. Like, there's probably better ways to create these specific workflows that are more fancy and whatever. I don't give a fuck. The part that matters is creating something that's actually valuable. There's a lot of AI workflows just for the sake of having an AI workflow. This is something that hits 2 problems, solves it in a very cheap way, and is sellable to a lot of different people, but a very specific audience as well. So you can kind of productize it and be like, hey, I have like let's say a daily psychologist turned copywriter for executives, whatever spin you want to put on it, feel free to do so. So anyways, if you enjoyed it, please, like, I don't know, share. That's probably the best idea on YouTube today. I'm just getting started. I have no fucking clue. If you want to use this, I would highly recommend you build this on your own. Like, I don't want to put a JSON for this workflow because it's super simple, and I think it will get you going if you're a complete newbie for anything n8n. I think that's a very good workflow to start because it's very rewarding to have it because you can use it right away. It will cost you like 1 cent per free content pieces, and it's you. So I think that's something to play around with, even if you're not planning to sell it onwards, which you can sell it onwards. So that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.